Welcome back, everybody. We want to continue this conference with showing you some collaborative business models developed during this project in the 5 participating countries. We show you those models by different modes. First of all, a German model will be pitched by a presenter from the consortium itself. Then you will have a video of an Austrian model, and then also a video of a Norwegian model, and then a Dutch model will be presented. And afterwards, our Norwegian partner will give an introduction, will give some conclusions about all the models being developed or still being developing, because we're still busy with this project. And we will have a discussion on the difficult themes within those models and how to overcome those. First, I give the floor to Peter Panier from Dena, Germany, who gives a presentation about Bauteam Hamburg.
Good afternoon. My name is Peter Panier. I'm from the German Energy Agency in Berlin, and I'm working for the Energy Efficiency Department in Berlin. And now I want to introduce you the Bauteam Hamburg model. The idea of this Bauteam model is that the architect and the members of the team want to refurbish buildings in a very high quality standard in an efficient way. And the special thing of this Bauteam model is that for all the involved people, we have a classic win-win situation. I can continue with my presentation here. So all the involved people are the client, the planners, and the trades. And here you see a model of the established hierarchy in the construction projects in Germany. Normally you have the client and he's linked with the planner and the architect. And then the craftsmen and trades are linked only with the architects and probably with the planners. And at the end, normally, or sometimes you have subcontractors. So then you have the problem that you have a lot of quality and communication losses, because just the craftsman talking with the architect and the architect is just talking to the client, may probably talking to the planners. So coming to the model of the Bauteam, here we have the Bauteam Hamburg is specialized in timber frame construction work and combined with renewable energies. And members of the Bauteams are the architect, or the company of the architect, which means that the architect is himself working there, and some energy consultants and some building services consultants. And then we have carpenters, we have bricklayers, we have a gardener, we have a drywall builder, we have floor layers. So we have nearly all craftsmen involved in the refurbishment process. And the special thing is here that only the architect is talking to the client during the whole project. And here we have much more communication than in the model before, because this model is based on trust, because all the people know each other a couple of years, and they worked together with many projects before, and now they decided to found a Bauteam. And the special thing is that the Bauteam, here you see the yellow stripes, that they have regularly meetings, nearly weekly or every 2 weeks. They have the meeting starting at the early stage of the project. And then every single involved people or company. Every craftsman have its own contract to the client as well as the architect. So the architect is still independent, and the main goal of this project or this team is that they have to satisfy the client. That's the main goal. The second one is economic success with lower costs and with high quality work. And the basis, what I said, is trust and mutual understanding of everybody and readiness for cooperation and reliability. The success of the project is more important than the individual self-interest. So that's very important. If you don't have this, the Bauteam model wouldn't work. And we asked the architect to answer some questions why he want to step into the renovation market. And what he said, he would convert old buildings into more comfortable, low-energy buildings after the refurbishment. And he found collaborative companies with already completed project and a jointly processed. And the business idea of this business model is refurbish with a high quality standard in an efficient way. And in this cooperation, each of the partners remain legally separate, and they're doing this projects with experienced craftsmen, well coordinated with just one contact as the coordinator here, the architect and the planning office. And the last question was, what do you recommend other companies that want to step into NZAP renovations? He said that you have to start the dialogue with the client in an early stage, with all, not only with the client, with all other people involved in the process. And mutual trust is the basic pillar of the cooperation. And you have to have clear rules as basis for this cooperation. And you have to carry out this project with reliable people, with reliable craftsmen and companies which have experience, already have experience in energy efficient renovations. So that was my short presentation. Thank you.
All the batteries is something.
Hello. So we asked one of our collaborative structures to present their business model and to ask to the questions which were mentioned by Peter before. And he did it on a video, which I'm trying to open now. Should work. But it needs some further information maybe to the collaborative structure itself. The group is formed by planners and architects who collaboratively work together in dealing with projects. And starting with the energy advice, they try to identify the customer needs in order to develop different concepts. And they do the technical advice and as well as the financial advice. And yeah, this group has been formed in Austria. It's working in 2 regions, in Tyrol and in Upper Austria. And depending on what need the customer have, they are putting the team together in order to satisfy these needs. As well, there is in the center of their offer, there is a software where they can collaboratively work together and develop their solutions for the best practice renovation. The target group they identified for themselves are people 60 plus, retired and or nearly retired, looking for a major renovation before retiring. And the other one is people between 25 and 35, getting a house or buying a house and doing a major renovation for instead of building a new house.
The aim is to create buildings with
Let's hear what
comfortable
it says.
conditions, 365 days in a year. This value is the major point for building owners. Equally important is the economically modernization. Just independent planners can ensure a high quality of implementation. My name is Johannes Pointner. I am the CEO of Ogut. We are a startup for innovative, independent planners. We started intensive networking for 3 years ago. Approximately 200 discussions with interested architects and engineers were necessary. We are now a one-stop shop for building owners, from the idea to the quality control. And we believe Europe can have a leadership in sustainable buildings. Old buildings, many questions. We must ask ourselves, what is the challenge for owners? First, how to make the right decision. And second, how it works easily and securely. Specifically, we have developed the method Ogut. They called potential analysis and solves the problem step by step. Mainly helps our standardized potential analysis in finding the right decision. What problems we are talking? Here are some examples. Can the building be used generally? Is a renovation possible without barriers? Is there enough space for the next generation? How to create more living space or better used by renting? How can generations live together? Which residential qualities are important? For example, summer fitness, air quality. How can we use renewable energy sources? How can you get parking spaces in central locations? And many more questions. How does the method works? The first step is an interview with the owner. One architect and one engineer for building technology are investigating the whole building and the personal situation in life cycle. At the end, we have a crude strategy. The second step is to calculate possible solutions, mostly two variants with cost and timetable. For this work, we have highly efficient software tools. The third step is the decision for the owner. With awareness for advantages and disadvantages is this quite simple. Then we can start the planning process, as usual. Our service is available for all planners. Independent planners of all areas must bring this new service to the market. Then we can design a new generation of buildings. Thank you for your attention.
And thank you for the interview. And as he said, it's a loose cooperation of architects and planners, and also offering the quality assurance and the coordination management, the construction site management and coordination. They are independently working, and they are not linked, and they are not. They can refer or provide suitable executing actors. But their main focus is on planning and advice, and starting with energy advice and giving a potential analysis with different variants of technical solutions as well as the financial options.
Thank you, Hannes. We continue with a Norwegian example. That's a video. I think it's just started directly.
Dear all participants to this conference, here is a small presentation from Norway and from our connection to the COHERENO project. We will look into a nearly zero energy building we have been working with, an old house on a farm which is about to be finished these days. But first, I will give you a little review of the past year. My name is Øystein Berg. I am CEO and partner in Energisparhus Norge. Our business is being advisors in passive house construction and passive house technology. We do energy calculations, thermal bridge calculations, and we support our customers with building knowledge. And in the end, we support them with balanced ventilation with heat recovery. The process started after summer in 2014 with a presentation of the COHERENO project in our hometown, Drammen. You will see this on the map by the red spots. And in the COHERENO project, we have been working with Rørmont AS, the plumbing company, and they do ordinary work as plumbers and deliver and install heat pumps and different other heating systems. And the last company here is T. Sandobygg AS. It's a carpenter, builder company in our region. And as you see, we are located in the southeast of Norway. In our region, there is approximately 200,000 inhabitants, and many live in private single houses, and a large amount of these houses was built the second half of the last century. After the presentation meeting in 2014, we wanted to have a further process together with the COHERENO project, and we invited some other companies we knew in our region to take part in this. During spring 2015, we had 2 workshops in our office, and we did some homework in between the workshops. After this process, we are ready to move on, and hopefully we can make a new business out of this. The main reason for us to step into nearly zero energy buildings is a logical extension on what we already do with passive houses: planning, calculation, and managing projects. But we are moving the focus a bit towards the rehab market, not only working with new houses. We established our company in 2010 based on the fact that there will be need for the expertise in passive house technology, especially since the governments in Europe all agree to reduce the emission of climate gases. We need more sustainable construction, better indoor climate, and less energy consumption. The invitation from the COHERENO project was just the right thing for us at the right moment. So, how to find business partners? We did this very easy and very low tech. We called and visited different companies in our region. Some of them we knew from other projects, and some of them was new to us. We invited them to take part in the COHERENO workshops during the spring in 2015, and when we had been through the process, it was clear to us that we had found potential partners. After the Second World War, it has been built a large number of one-family houses in Norway, most of them after 1960. Even that our case here is a house from 1937. They are all mainly built in wood, with little insulation. They have windows with bad U-value and are often heated with oil-based systems. The original owners are now moving out of the big houses and into smaller apartments. Younger families take over the houses, and they will upgrade the house according to comfort. They will modernize the technical solutions, and they will throw out the oil heating. So we are now ready to help house owners to get a nearly zero energy building. A challenge still is the fact that the energy price in Norway is very low and the financial support programs is not supportive enough. But I must say, they become better all the time. And better support systems and higher energy prices, that will definitely change the situation. And we have also seen from the last national election in Norway in September 2015 that green political movements have won more votes now than 4 years ago, and they will now get more influence in the communities than before. So on this matter, green is in. And finally, We believe there is need for a public national effort to spread the knowledge about what nearly zero energy buildings will mean for the homeowners. Not necessarily that it's economically very profitable in the short term, but as much an explanation of investing in better quality accommodation, better indoor air quality, sustainable solutions, and a smaller ecological footprint. By doing this investment, the house owners get a much better house than they had before, and also they are active in terms of reducing greenhouse gas emissions. And there are still many houses that needs renovation to the NSEB level. Thank you all for your attention.
I will continue with a Dutch example. Unfortunately, the presenter of this, of the Haarlemse huizenaanpak, you can maybe translate it to the Haarlem renovation approach, couldn't be here. I heard that yesterday or the day before by family circumstances, so I do that presentation. The Haarlemse huizenaanpak was an existing collaborative foundation, but they came to us as part in the COHERENO project to go from, let's say, applying single measures and also not having an integrated process to have an offering integrated renovations and also an integrated renovation process from diagnosis until aftercare and maybe also maintenance of the renovated dwelling. The Haarlem's existing condition, the housing stock. If you see those facts and figures, I think you can imagine there's an emerging market in Haarlem, and especially for Haarlem, it's in houses, and especially what the Haarlemse huizenaanpak is addressing is the housing stock built before the Second World War, and some part of those houses have some monumental characteristics. Most of those houses are built in the 30s, in the 20s and the 30s, and of course they need a lot of maintenance, but not just maintenance, also renovation to low energy use. What you also see, people in Haarlem stay for a long time, and there are also a lot of influx from people from Amsterdam to Haarlem. Haarlem is close to Amsterdam, and actually also the Haarlemse huizenaanpak want to focus on a customer segment, people who are buying a house in Haarlem, and before they move to that house, they want to renovate that house to low energy standards. This is a picture of the very nice city center of Haarlem. If you didn't visit it before, do it. And maybe the Haarlemse huizenaanpak can also guide you along some NSEB projects. How and when? What was the process? And I think that is specific for this Haarlemse huizenaanpak. It's not really a public-private partnership. It's a foundation, but actually, and like in a lot of other municipalities in the Netherlands, there is a sort of a facilitating role of the municipalities. They also have, of course, have a role to create awareness amongst the clients, amongst homeowners, but also amongst contractors. And they also facilitated that tradesmen come together and form a group. And actually in the foundation formed as Haarlemse huizenaanpak, also the municipality of Haarlem, but also the province of North Holland has a role. And of course for the Haarlemse huizenaanpak itself, an important role is that there is a sort of a fund from the province of North Holland, and especially meant for those customers to pay for the diagnosis phase, so to pay for the energy advice, because that's a big problem often in the Netherlands. People don't want to pay for the advice only, and they are not quite used to go to for advice, and not quite used to go, for instance, to an architect to have advice about the renovation of the dwelling. So you have to, the customer relationship is, you have to work on the customer channel and the customer relationship, and maybe a subsidy for the energy advice is important, and that's being addressed by a fund from the province of North Holland. So there's a sort of a collaboration between the demand side, the supply side, but also public authorities. And of course, it is not, those public authorities are more or less at the sideline, because of course they can't say we recommend those contractors, those architects, those energy advisors and so on being part of the Haarlemse Huizenaanpak, because of course they have an independent view on all the other contractors also busy in their city and around, but they find some ways that also the municipality have a role in this, and that they support the Haarlemse Huizenaanpak. So here you can see that what important is, of course, of those collaborative forms is knowledge sharing. So it's not just about collaboration and executing a nice renovation project, but especially in this collaboration form, they organize a lot of meetings between the different trades, and that installers know something about bricklayers, and that timbermen know something about energy advisors, etc., and that they really can find each other and can work together. So knowledge sharing in the center of this slide is very important. Of course, also important are professional skills, trust and respect. So they find who might be a member of the foundation. So they might what professional skills are needed when you may become a member of this foundation. And of course, they also made an analysis what professional skills are missing, what traits are missing in our approach, in our collaborative approach. And during the COHERENO project, actually, we found out that, if you make the change from, let's say, applying single measures, and also more or less focusing on just parts of the process, maybe project management isn't not that important. But if you transfer it into an integrated approach, and that you want to have one contact person for the client, guiding that homeowner from the early start until the aftercare, you need really project managers doing that, and maybe architects already being part of the Haarlemse Huizenaanpak can take that role, or maybe energy advisors, or maybe you need other people who are even more can deal with all the other trades involved, and also can deal with the questions of the client. And especially this slide shows that there was not really a sort of one customer segment. If you see on the right hand side, VVE, that's a shared ownership, homeowners association, they focused on a lot of different aspects, making the housing stock energy safe. And for instance, at the left hand side, it's about just the diagnosis phase, the home doctor going to your home and have some advice about energy savings. How the client finds the Haarlemse Huizenaanpak. Actually, also during that was one of the points during our intervention of of this collaboration formed by COHERENO, it was not very clear how to find them. Of course, they already have a very nice website, etc. And of course, also all the members have a nice website. And they also are present, for instance, at neighborhood initiatives. Neighborhood initiatives often also facilitated by the municipality, that people living in a street, often street initiatives, collectively improve their homes. So they are present with a stand, etc. But actually they missed a sort of a back office, to say so. They missed one contact, a really contact point. Maybe and now they are thinking more and more about. Actually, yesterday there was a discussion about who want to be that contact point, that contact person, employed by the Haarlems Huisaanpak. So it will transfer really into a business, really to a business model with people employed that can encourage the uptake of integrated renovation. And also maybe that contact person can be located in one of those members, but maybe he or she will be located in a sort of pop-up renovation store in the center of Haarlem. So they are present at a lot of events, and this is the Haarlem lovely home route. What's actually a very important, let's say, conclusion from the whole COHERENO project, and what already was said today, had to demonstrate, to have demonstration projects, and guiding people along those projects is very important to make other people aware, other people that want to renovate their dwelling too. Now they offer values for the client from the early start to the end of the project. Unburdening, that's what's often saying is very important, unburdening for not expert clients. And also on this slide, an important point is how to, of course, how to finance my renovation, and is there are there any grants for that? And now they decided also that people within the Haarlems Huisaanpak, or maybe members, not really members, but partners of that, can really give good advice about the finance, about financing the renovation, and know their way into the very difficult landscape of grants and subsidies and mortgages, etc. So it was already advertised, or this is in a lot of publications, and it's a well-known approach already, but it was still focusing on just single measures and one part, sometimes to a few parts of the process. How it starts is that the client makes contact with one, until now with one of the members, but now they are making that one contact point, and then after a first consultancy, they have a sort of a kitchen table meeting, really to make clear what their client wants and what solutions can be offered. And in this way, the different contractors being part of the foundation can offer for those solutions. So it's not that the client, in that way, it's not an integrated, it's an integrated approach, but all what I said before, a lot of clients in the first place don't want to pay for the advice, and in the second place, they also, actually they want to have the lowest offer, lowest, but also quality, hopefully quality price offer. So different companies within the foundation can offer for the solutions brought forward by the client and the architect and the energy advisor, and maybe also companies outside the Haarlems Huisaanpak can offer for that, but actually there aren't that much contractors that can do the job what they want making a very energy efficient house and also a very healthy house. Actually, there's still a shortage. That's also one of the conclusions of this. There's still a shortage of good contractors. So there are that's their conclusion in Haarlem. There are enough architects and there are enough energy advisors and maybe also project managers that can do the job, that they having enough knowledge about the whole process and about NZEP renovation, but there is a lack of contractors, lack of small, maybe medium-sized contractors for doing the job. At this moment, I think 3 installers are involved in the Haarlemse Huisaanpak. They are members of that foundation, and 2 small multi-skilled contractors, especially for brickwork, timber work, window frames, etc. So what they recommend for us, create a fund for marketing purposes, create actually what maybe in more conclusion is that you really need a sort of being here a foundation, really need a sort of a back office, and that in that way you really need a big fund for marketing, but also not just for marketing, but also for the first contact with the client. And in this way, in this example, they have some funds from the province, but of course that's just a fund to start up, and it will end, I think, this year or maybe next year. What also was a conclusion that maybe real estate agents of mortgage and other financial actors are not there in the foundation, but there should be very good relationships with them to have financial advice for the clients. There's a need for more contracting companies. What I already said, create, show and tell, open homes. Also be open during the renovation, show during the renovation that renovation already to other people, and yeah, be very clear, here is a renovation going on. And the last point on this slide, the website is very important with recommendations of other clients, with satisfied clients, and next to that also one contact person is very important to address the questions of the client and to address those questions to other people within the Haarlemse Huisaanpak. Thank you for your attention for this presentation. Trond Havik is from Segel. He is our, let's say, our business partner within COHERENO. He learned us how to work with the business model canvas, and now we are learning, we're teaching all those involved contractors and other actors how to do that and how to make a collaborative business model. And the floor is to Trond to present the cross-case analysis of the models.
Hello everybody, I'm Trond Havik from western part of Norway, and I live quite almost on the edge of the biggest glacier on mainland Europe. And I can witness to you, we see that the glacier is decreasing. So we have a work to do. So it also gives sense in what we are doing now. You see here is the subject I'm going to talk about. And I have this brief agenda, so you know what you can expect from me. And go through briefly what's done and some of the experiences, and also some details about few details about the models, and then of the results. And as already said, this is not finished, so it's some preliminary conclusions, learnings and experiences, what I will tell. And the status is like this. In Norway, we have completed all 5 groups, and it's all documented. And in the other countries, you see, we are not completed all. They are, let's say, work in progress, and will be, hopefully, I think most countries will have also completed 5 groups when we ended this year. Therefore, I will draw up mainly learnings from the Norwegian examples, but we will also have some short inputs from the other countries as well. This one you have seen earlier today. And first of all, whom of you already know this very well? Up with your hands. Okay, it's some less than half of you. It means that the other half have never seen this before, and you must wonder what this is about. But don't worry, I give you now 1 minute lecture of explaining what this is about. Because it's, first of all, about to define the customer segments to whom we are going to target. And for each of these segments, we will also have to understand their needs. What are the needs they have? And the second point is to define, okay, what are we going to give or to supply to these customer segments we have selected? And so it's really how we wrap in, what is the package we offer to these segments? And you see also, how do we reach these segments? By marketing, but also in direct contact, by interaction with these segments. And as you see the heart up there, how do we build up our customer relationships so they can say positive things about what we are doing, and that I can remain as a client. Then it's also the rest on the left-hand side here. Okay, how are we going to give away this nice package here? What type of activities we need to do, and what type of resources we need to have in order to be able to do that, and what type of partners are needed outside our own organization. And of course, we have to find out how we generate cash from these activities. That's what we make of living, yeah? And therefore, within these groups, what we have been doing after the business collaboration events, we have now working with specific real groups, and I will just to give you an understanding about the Norwegian groups. The first one is one contractor which wanted to be a total contractor in northern part of Norway. The second group, you see it's a contractor with 15 employees. It's also an architect company there with 7 employees. There's an electrician company, a plumber, and a ventilation company. So you see it's many skills within this group. We have another group in Trondheim as well, and that's a contractor. It's a project planning company. And then we have a total technical contractor. It's a big company. It's a nationwide total technical contractor. So this is kind of the only big company involved in these models. And a hardware store. And this hardware store is also a member of a national chain. So this is quite different. But it's that's the interesting thing with the COHERENO project, that we can have different type of models so we can learn from different experiences. And then we have in Hønefoss, it's not that far away from Oslo, there is a web portal company which is a kind of a marketplace between homeowners and suppliers. And it's a contractor, plumber company, and an electrician company. And finally, we had Energisparhus, which you already seen. So further explanation of that is not needed. And just to give you an impression, okay, what have we been doing? What did we do? The first thing is that, and this is, now I explain you the process we did in Norway, because we had finalized 2 regional business collaboration events, one in Drammen, not far away from Oslo, and another one in Trondheim. And at these business collaboration events, I could say more or less, one of the persons they had back home, other companies they knew, and so they went home and then they contacted their companies they knew and asked, should we form a kind of a cooperationship? So that was the kind of recruiting we did for it. Then when we had made a deal with the 5 groups, we found each of the companies to check their motivation and to find out what markets, what municipalities they were operating, so we could gather some statistics of the building stocks in their local markets. And this we used for the next step, which was the first workshop. In the first workshop, we started in the morning, and before lunch, we had a status analysis where we identified the opportunities and threats and what were the strengths and weaknesses and so on. And after lunch, we worked with the first sketch of the business model for this group. And then they went home and I had some homework. And what I did as homework was to check out towards some of their clients what are their real needs and how did I think about the suggested value propositions. And with this input, we came back to the second workshop, and then they redefined the business model that we did before lunch and after lunch. Then we made defined targets and strategies and action plans. And afterwards, we gave them a complete business plan, and then we said goodbye. Please, now you have to implement it yourself. That was, and I asked, really, can't you stay in? The kind of experiences is that the participants were very satisfied. So this is the numbers who said very satisfied and 2 quite satisfied. So it was only 1 which was not quite satisfied. And we organized this workshop that it was 1 person from our company, business consulting with work with processes, and another person from our Norwegian partner Sintef, which is then a technical expert. So we had a team of a technical expert and a moderator or process consultant. And they also gave the feedback that the kind of combination of moderation and knowledge transfer was of very highly appreciated. Okay, when we look into some parts of the, I just look into 3 of the blocks, and perhaps the most important blocks is first the customer segments. And what we see here is they all define single-family homeowners with a good economy. Because if you're going with for an NSEB renovation, it will cost some money. So the owner need to have money. That's the first point. And then you see that they defined some different periods. One, I think it was 2 groups from 1950 to 1990, and then one from 45 to 85, and 2 groups from the 60s to the 1985s. And what I did as a basis for selection was that I looked at the local building stock, which segments the highest numbers. They were thinking of replication that they try to take, because they are typical population of the buildings, and when they can replicate that, they get a better economy on their projects. And the needs, it's always a kind of a starting point. It's a physical need, and I think that's been mentioned already before of the examples. And then you have, of course, other specific needs as the process, but it's also soft factors. It's not only about pure energy savings. It's really other so-called non-energy benefits. And in order, what is within this package they give to cover these needs? Well, the important point is kind of the customer journey, so to say, that should be a good journey for them. And inside that is about the soft factors. It's already been mentioned by others today, the indoor climate. And of course, the hard factors, improved aesthetics and functions and so on. And the interesting thing is also the one on the bottom, that some of the groups, they wanted to involve cooperation with a bank in order to at least offer a link to financing. And the third block I just wanted to have a glance at is the customer relationships. And you could say the important thing here is good communication and follow-up, and of course supported with some other important points there. Okay, in Norway, we have 5 business models have been formed, and the groups have targeting the market. And as you see, there are already several projects where they are in plan to present offer for, and they have also others in pipeline. It's not, you see some of the companies have still 0, but they are, let's say, starting. So then, Ad, you will just give some few words about the experience from Netherlands there. We have this one slide.
Yeah, what I already talked about the Haarlems huisaanpak. There are already some existing collaborative structures, but offering integrated solutions, that's the question. And also, actually, also in the Netherlands, because we are quite famous for the big social rented sector, to step into the owner-occupied market. And maybe that's also more or less addressed in the last bottom. Those are especially small contractors, those who are interested in the private market in the Netherlands. And of course, just for those small contractors, knowledge sharing is very important. But but they also have a lot of difficulties to for the long customer journey, and because they want to start doing things. So I think one of the most important questions, and also what we are dealing with, is how to make the channels, the customer relationships. That is the very most important puzzle piece, is how to accompany how to make that customer journey. Trond was talking about how to shorten that customer journey, how to make that customer journey sometimes more or less an independent advice, and then going to the market and by different offers, but that actually conflicts with a sort of a business idea, providing an integrated solution from the start, from the awareness of the customer until the aftercare phase. And also integrated solutions are seen by the businesses, are seen as a threat because they're not known by the public. And actually a lot of other concurrents on the market offer single measures, and applying a lot of single measures maybe will keep them away from applying a whole renovation. So you should just apply no regret measures. But offering those integrated solutions is also seen as an opportunity for those businesses because they are the front runners. They have a unique selling point, actually.
Okay, and we take a short look also from the experience from Belgium. And my partner from the Passive House platform, Wouter Hilderson, please.
This is better. Hello, Wouter Hilderson from Passive House platform in Belgium. We already worked with 3 groups completely, and these are some of our experiences. First, like Trond said, a bit the same thing. We saw that all groups focused on the high end of the market. So it's an integral renovation. This also highlights, of course, what then with the other bigger half of the market. But here all groups focused on the higher end. It was good to see that, and of course it is related with the higher end. They are probably more into unburdening. So all groups really focused on how can we do that. And so they also that good quality energy audit is a very important first step to get confidence to really look at the house and start from there. And also all groups, of course, said, okay, we want a single point of contact to be implemented into our collaboration. What we also saw was that all groups focused on quality, and what I also mean by that is that all companies actually are already on their own focused on quality. So it was not just a contractor who's just doing his job. No, they were all really into, we want to be good, we want to deliver quality, we want to do it on time. And so that there was already a big motivation with the different partners. And then we have some, maybe for Belgium specific, I don't think it is, but for Belgium, it is the position of the architect is always a big question. In all of the 3 groups, there was initially an architect involved. And that did steer the discussion a bit. The architect, there is always the legal question, what's his position, he has to be independent, he has to represent the client, but then working into a collaboration with contractors, it's difficult. So we got some nice support from VCB there to work on that. What I also saw was that for the architects, also from the others a bit, but mainly for the architects, the first part of choosing a customer segment was not always seen as very natural. I got a reaction often like, we have to choose a customer, but everybody who walks into my office and has a question, design me a building, is my customer. They didn't, and if you would study, you would see that they all have a customer segment. One has more like a high-end design customer segment, another does not. More looks at young people who are interested in sustainability, but they weren't aware that they had that type of customer. So that made the discussion on working in the business model not always that easy. And then finally, as maybe another lesson, there were some groups that came out of the participants themselves, so they all knew each other. There was also one group that was put together by a third-party organization, and there we saw that there was like a big difference in scale of the companies, and that made it also difficult. Now, if I look at the examples from Norway, there's also one collaboration where there's a big difference in scale. So maybe I should rephrase this a bit. Maybe it's not the scale in itself that is a problem, but it's more like the interest. Here we had the bigger company was interested in high volume, maybe low-end renovations, while, for instance, one of the contractors, an installer of ventilation, he was really into high quality but low volume, and so that gave some kind of difficulties. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Then we have a quick flight to experiences from Austria.
Yes, hello. This is Franziska Trewood from Austria, from Ogut also. Well, the main experience was that in Austria we have existing collaboration structures already built, and they are quite routine in analysis and planning and also in quality assurance. But of course we have a lack of routines for collaboration and the field of advertising and marketing activities and distribution. So this is the main question, how to find the clients and how to focus on customer segment, as Walter said, because they have problems to focus on one group, and then of course, so they have to focus to get real estate agencies or brokers and banks on board of this collaboration, and so a lot of ideas go in that direction to take those on board. And then we saw that even the front runners that passed some very well done projects, they have to develop a business model, because their clients at the moment are some enthusiastic idealists or some friends of them, and so it's not at the state that you can say this is a business model. And some of the solutions we have mentioned, that goes not to focus on energy efficiency first, but to have other things in mind, to develop a house for at least 2 families out of a single family house, or to find solutions for the generation 50 plus, where you make the house barrier free, and to implement or integrate a separate dwelling into the house, especially for perhaps some members of the family to look for you or to share each other in the daily life, look the grandparents for the children, and the other way around. So you have ideas of multi-generation solutions, or on the other to make the renovation as a real alternative instead of buying a new house. There are some reasons to do this, also economical reasons, or that it is faster than to build a new house. And also there are some ideas go in the direction that retrofit also can be a good solution, where you have 2 old houses and then you tear them down and perhaps build a house for 4 or 5 families that is more energy efficient.
Thank you very much. And then finally, the experience from Germany, Peter Panier from Dena, please.
The experience from Germany are that we found 3 collaboration structures, and one group in Hamburg starts work soon. They are ready to work. If they can acquire a project, they will do this. But with the 2 other groups in Kassel, they're just forming it, and they want to see what they get. And and we have the 2 groups in Kassel. We have a very fixed network, and we have a bigger network than they just want to establish in the region, and they're just forming it now. So that's the experience in Germany, or that's in Germany.
Thank you very much. And then I just want to sum up here with some learnings and recommendations. And it's really important to establish a tight cooperation. It takes time, it's also mentioned here. So it's very important that it takes the time to build trust. You already heard that. That was the wrong way. And then thanks to our partners, they're going to catch a flight. So nice trip back home. And then it's also a critical thing that, okay, when you have first gather a group and I want to work together, if it takes too long time before they really have the good pilot project to really work on, it's a critical thing. So it's important to get good projects early. And it's also a challenge, of course, that if there is one or two very committed persons or companies, and then there are someone who are just halting afterwards, that's creates some irritation, of course, and it's not good. And it's, of course, back to the business model again, that you understand the customer needs, and it's more than energy, and that you can then make a good value proposition towards the segments there. And quality assurance, very important to have this included. And then we made a kind of a checklist, and this is checklist, so it means it doesn't have to be like, but I think all groups considering doing this, they should really check if this is relevant for them. And the first is, of course, important, and to have this holistic perspective. And one contact point, it's very important that the house owner can do this in an easy way. Check their ideas towards existing customers, because if we are working with a group and we don't test it on real clients, how they think about it, it will be just a theoretical exercise. And reputation should, of course, be good. If you have a good reputation, really take advantage of it. And it's what we have seen is that many of these companies of clustering, they have some context between them already before. And this example with including a hardware store, they are quite professional in marketing, and they have a really good network for to reach the market. And to continue the checklist, it's important, and that's what's going to happen with 3 of the groups in Norway. They are now going into to formalize the cooperation. One of the groups, Energisparhus, they have formed already a company, and others, they will do legal written agreements. And some of the groups, they make an open calculation model, so also the customer will see it, and so it's quite a very, very interesting way to build confidence and trust. And this with thinking out of the box, other type of actors, because this market is changing. So I think there will come in new type of actors into the market which could play an important role. And to include assistance in how to achieve funding, because if the house owner can apply for grants, he does it only once. But if this one-stop shop are doing this, helping them with applications, that's also a good thing. One thing which is not listed here, and is the final thing, is that we have seen that it's mainly smaller companies. And what we are doing here is a kind of innovation processes, and they need help for it. And we have written kind of guidance of doing it, but I think it's my main lesson to give to companies doing this is that you should also have assistance from professionals in doing such processes. Because if you try to do this on your left hand, it's difficult to make it happen. So that was what I had to say.
Thank you, Trond. We promised you to have some question time, so who can I give the microphone?
Yeah, maybe the partners who had the presentation can sit like before. The partners left.
Yeah, I was going to ask the partners a few questions, but they've left. I think the experts maybe can help me. Randall Bowie from Rockwell International. There's this old problem of energy advisors. You know, a lot of, like Upper Austria, for example, and Sweden, use public money to have energy advisors out in the different regions, and which is good. You know, they do give some advice, and they can give advice on this subject to a certain point. But then that sometimes is criticized. First of all, it's praised because it's objective advice. You know, they're looking for independent. I think you mentioned it in one of the presentations, the need for independent advice. So it's a bit of a dilemma because, you know, you get independent advice, but it's also competing with some of your business models. And I'm just wondering if any of you have come upon a way where you can optimize, you know, using this public money to give some initial independent advice without creating competition with some of the business models where you're doing exactly the same thing, giving advice as part of a one-stop shop, for example. Because, I mean, I think you may need both. It's good to have to kickstart the market maybe with some public money for advice, but not to the point where it actually prevents business models from developing. Have you thought about that, or do you have any ideas? Thank you.
When we have all conclusions from all 5 countries, we will have even a better answer. But what I can say is that, for instance, in Norway, the Norwegian state body Enova, they have set up a system with, let's say, approved energy advisors. And this system makes it also possible that a contractor can be an energy advisor. And so within these Norwegian groups, there are also some of the groups have an energy advisor within the group. And that's, of course, a kind of the conflict you are into here. Because it's a dilemma we had in other groups, they said it's not possible to have it inside a group, that should be outside the group, but we should have kind of an cooperation with them. And so when there are more good one-stop suppliers, then one energy advisor, he can then say, okay, you should ask them, or them. They are one-stop shop. They have a holistic. Then it's okay that he can recommend at least some. Then it's competition, but it's the wrong thing. As I understand your point, is that because when he come up with the advices, and any type of contractor and very narrow-eyed come up with sub-optimized solution at the end. That's the issue you are pointing at. So I think for the stage so far, there has to be kind of you have to try to see that, okay, at least the energy advisor should not recommend someone whom not thinking holistically. I don't know if some of you will have something to add, no?
People are hungry and thirsty.
I hear concerns about reaching the client and upscaling the market. So I was wondering, what I didn't hear today is a monitoring when the project is done. Maybe that's a way to showcase more the result of the good result of the project and get the banks along and everybody else.
That's actually a very good point, and yeah, it may be it's not shown so clear here. And but what we during this workshop we have tried to stress the groups, because also from the let's say the marketing point of view, it's what too many companies forget is the following up. Because then, let's say, defined after services, so you can keep the contact with the client. So that's also, let's say, a commercial interest of doing so. And then you say, your point is that this is important because that you can also follow up and see if it meets the targets, and it's also to make sure that the client is using the technical equipment correctly and do the kind of maintenance needed and so on, and that could be then easily be done with a company like you. You can go and have after services as well, yeah? As communication, yeah? Yeah.
Yeah, also in two of the three business models we developed in the Netherlands, let's say aftercare, including monitoring the energy use, is part of that. So it's from the also from the business perspective to keep that relationship with the client. And one of those models is more or less let's say, a phased process. So they acknowledge that a lot of clients don't want to renovate their dwelling in one time, but maybe in some stages. So they really want to monitor and want to keep that relationship very good with the client, and maybe renovate the second part of the house in 5 years' time, when the client saved money with the energy saving measures already applied, and also saved money by other reasons. So in that case, monitoring is part of the business model itself, but generally we didn't, in our project itself, we didn't address the issue of monitoring all the outcomes, the real outcomes of the business models in the real renovations, and what is really the energy savings achieved.
Yeah, Eva Bo again from LGI Consulting. I have a question for you, Trond. Two questions. First is, do you think the canvas from Osterwalder is the first tool for this type of workshops, or maybe a simpler tool could be easier to manage for these workshops? And second is, if you can restart this process again, would you change something of the process of contacting stakeholders? Thank you.
Yeah. Start with the the second question. What to do? Restart. In a previous project called One Stop Shop, it was a Iraqo build project. We made a guideline for how to develop such one-stop shops. And this is on, the guideline is in a PDF format on the internet, so if you Google that, you will find it. In that guideline, we defined 3 workshops. In this project, we had only 2 workshops. And one of the feedback is that it was very, very dense what we did. So I would say for our next project, I would really stick to 3 workshops. And that means that at the first workshop, coming back to your first question, then I would start with not the canvas, but I would start with really focusing on the situation as it is in the market today. And so it's really into how they operate today, and to spend some more time on the status analysis. And then you can move on, and I think the canvas model function quite well, so I would keep it in as an important tool, because it's, you could say, the persons we typically have here, they are not academic people, and this canvas model is easy for everybody to understand, and it's when we have on a format, on a table on the first day, then it's really high activity and creativity, so it's kind of a fun way of doing it. So I think that's, I would recommend it to use it, yes. And but the interesting thing is that the canvas is by the idea of one business model. And one company, forget about what we have been talking about, one company can have several business models. And you can, a good question is, well, is it feasible for a group of companies to cooperate to use the canvas? That's really a good question. And when we started the process, typically define the segments, customer segments and their needs, value propositions, and the channels and the customer relation. But when we come down to the cash flow, well, then the discussion started, yeah, but who invoice whom and so on. And then it comes really to whom business model is this for really? And that was quite good, because then some of them said, okay, maybe this is really the business model for this one-stop shop where the carpenter can be the main actor, and I'm the plumber, and the other companies, we are partners and define it. But so even though you can use this canvas for discussion, or others define, yeah, but no, we define this as a common business for our, and we define later how to, if we do it legally as one company or not.
Thank you very much for attending this conference. We are still ongoing in this project, so what Trond showed you, not all business models are already there. We already have a lot of project results. You can find them on our website. We'll also inform you, all the attendants here, with a mail with some pictures of this, with some results of this afternoon, and so we keep in contact. And of course, a video is being made, so that video will be on YouTube in some time. We will send you a link to that. Thank you very much for attending, and we will finish this with a networking cocktail.